Welcome to the Professional Installer's Guide to installing SunTouch Underfloor. SunTouch Underfloor is used to retrofit homes for electric heating. It is intended for installation under a wood subfloor between joists in residential and light commercial installations. Here's what a typical installation looks like. Underfloor is stapled to the sides of the floor joists 2 inches below the subfloor. An air gap is left between the mat and the wooden subfloor. Fiberglass insulation is installed below the mat. Underfloor is best suited for stone, tile, or laminate coverings. Before getting started, pay attention to these cautions. Don't cut or modify the mat in any way. Don't remove the foil radiator or modify it. Don't repair the mat. Instead, call for instructions. Don't install one mat on top of another or overlap the mat onto itself. This causes dangerous overheating. Don't leave the mat rolled up or bunched up in the joist bay. Don't run mats across joists. Don't forget to install the sensor. Don't allow objects to come into contact with the foil radiator of the mat. The first step of your project is determining how much underfloor you'll need. Inspect each joist bay and measure the length of open areas where mat will be installed. Select the appropriately sized mats from the manual. Underfloor mats are sized to fit between joists of common dimensions. SunTouch Underfloor comes in 120 volts. When considering how to arrange your underfloor mats, keep in mind where you can place a steel junction box to which you can route the power leads. Locate your control box on an interior wall 60 inches above the floor. Keep in mind that you'll have to run Romex to or from the junction box below. The control electrical box may be a single-gang plastic deep box, but electrical code requirements may require a larger size. You'll also need a floor sensing control like this SunStat programmable model with a 7-day schedule to maintain the temperature that's right for you. First, use a quality digital multimeter to check the performance of the mats and sensor wire. Make sure the resistance between the black and white wires matches the resistance on the label. There should be no resistance between the black and green and white and green wires. Write down your readings in your manual's resistance log after each test. Each control includes a floor sensor, which is typically installed before the mats. The manual describes 3 methods for installing the sensor. We'll be demonstrating method 1. Drill a 1-inch hole at an angle into the subfloor, directly above where the mat will be installed. Insert the sensor and seal it with adhesive. Before installing the mat, inspect all joists for nails, screws, or other sharp objects. First, measure between the floor joists where the mat will be installed. Then, measure the width of the mat. The difference between these measurements determines how much mesh is available for stapling to the sides of the joists. If the mat begins near a rim joist, measure 6 inches out. Measure 2 inches below the subfloor and mark the joists on both sides of the joist cavity. Hold the mat up along one joist and staple the first 2 feet of the mesh along the 2-inch mark. At the other end of the mat, hang the mesh on a nail 2 inches below the subfloor. This will make it easier to install the rest of the mat. Continue stapling the mat mesh every 4 to 6 inches along the 2-inch mark. Raise the mat to the other joist and staple along the 2-inch mark. Using the same techniques, staple up the other mats. Note the gap left on both sides of the obstruction. Once all the mats are installed, perform another resistance check of your white and black wires with your ohm meter. Connect the power leads in parallel with the Romex cable. All the green wires join together with the bare ground wire. All the white wires from the mats joined together with the white load wire. All the black wires from the mats joined together with the black load wire. This section covers the installation of the SunStat programmable model 500-670 for 120-volt wiring. Each control should include a floor sensor with a 15-foot long wire, 2 screws for mounting in the electrical box, 5 wire nuts for wiring connections, a small screwdriver, and the instruction sheet, which you must read before beginning work. Make certain the power from your electrical source is turned off and that you've read the installation manual and instructions with each control before you begin work. Don't connect more than 15 amps to this control for 120-volt underfloor mats. At your control location, you should have the Romex cable from your electrical supply known as the line. This is the Romex cable from the junction box below the floor known as the load. Remove the thermostat front module from the power module by opening the door and loosening the screw. Pull outward near the bottom of the front module and lift it off. Connect the 2 wires marked Line 1 and Line 2 to the power supply wires using the wire nuts provided. Check the wires to make sure they're secure, and then overwrap the wire nuts with electrical tape. Connect the 2 wires marked Load 1 and Load 2 to the Romex wires coming from the underfloor system and secure them in the same way. Connect the house ground wire to the Romex ground wire from your floor warming system. Insert the ends of the floor sensor wire into the sensor terminals 1 and 2 and tighten the screws. The wires can go into either terminal. Before continuing, make sure your power supply voltage matches the voltage rating of your floor warming system. Mount the thermostat. Carefully fold and press the wires back into the electrical box. Don't use the thermostat to push them in because the connections might loosen. Secure the thermostat power module into the box with the mounting screws provided. Carefully snap the front module onto the power module. Tighten the screw. Switch on the power at the main circuit panel.